What's up, Silas here. I'm at the One World Trade Center. That's where the 9/11 memorial is. Right there is the north footprint and the south footprint over there. And then you can see the tower lights, which are not by the actual footprints, but I think they're being shown from somewhere out there. So today is September 11th, 2017, and this is, of course, the anniversary of the September 11th attacks in 2001, where almost 3,000 people died in planes flying into the World Trade Center towers that were here, the Twin Towers. So I just decided to meet a couple of friends and come down here and check this out on this night. And I remember the first time coming here, I'm not quite sure how I felt. It just made me remember when it actually happened. I was in school in West Virginia, and I remember walking into the classroom. I forget what class it was, but I remember walking into the classroom and it was on TV. They were showing the first tower was on fire, and I was wondering, what is this? You know, I was kind of thinking, was this film or something of the previous attack, which was some bombing that happened in the basement? I wasn't really putting two and two together that, okay, why would it be bombing in the parking lot downstairs? Why would that have flames coming out from the top of the building? Then somebody says, no, it's actually happening right now. This is live video. And then we're sitting there watching because everybody's quiet and transfixed, and then you see the second plane hit. And then the news is coming in about all the other things that go on. Class went over, the towers came down, and just trying to think of what was happening with all that and how it might have been here. And down here with some friends, one of the friends actually was just showing us this key card that he had applied for some job in the World Trade Center, and he was in there 12 days before, and they had given him a little key card to be in there. And then he ends up not going that time, but just thinking of different world, different kind of situation. He could have actually been in there. It could have actually been a situation where he was involved in that attack. He could have died in that thing. And one strange thing is, walking up here, of course, there's a 9/11 truthers. There's people talking about different things, saying, okay, this didn't happen, that might have happened. People talking about inside jobs or false flags, all kinds of things, and just things that go around this where they wonder, okay, was the government responsible for this? Did they know what was happening and decided not to actually go through with it or not go through stopping them? And I don't really go into too much on that. I might actually discuss that in a later video, but the whole being somewhere and experiencing it in person or seeing it after, just having the kind of the things that go around for something like this to happen, something like this terror attack to happen. And I had one experience being very close to this and meeting somebody that was involved in a terror attack, which was the Westgate Mall attack in Nairobi, Kenya. Now with that one, there's not too many people talking about false flags and all this, but even during that process, there were people talking about, oh no, this was probably an inside job by somebody else. Okay, not inside job, but there's all these talks of the different groups that might have been doing it, might have done that. But when it came down to it, people died. There was people involved in there. I met somebody after who said he had been involved in the place and had jumped over the fence while the people were being shot inside. And he was just shell-shocked. This was somebody in Nairobi. And I remember just trying to relate to him and try to see if I could understand where he was coming from, or his mentality after surviving something like that, being so close to something like that, and just trying to understand the lasting effect that's going to have on him and the lasting effect it's had on the country, on the people involved in these situations.
So that's the thing that happens when you have an attack like this, when you have terror. When you're in terror, you want to understand what has happened. It is very understandable that people want an explanation. They don't want to feel that this is uncontrollable, that even if they feel that, yes, I know the few people that made this happen, that controlled this to happen, that makes them feel better than just saying, I don't know. I don't know if another plane can actually fly into a building. I don't know if some people can run up in this mall the next time I go in. And that's the key of terror. That's why terror attacks, I think, are uniquely different than, I would say, your conventional military attacks where people are like, we're in a war zone. It's kind of expected. This is the unexpected nature of it. So to have people grasp for conspiracy theories and things like this, and okay, I'm not going to say that conspiracies don't exist. if me and a couple of friends are deciding, okay, what's the best way to have a surprise party for one friend, and we start talking about, yeah, okay, you go buy this, you rent this place, you make sure this person shows up at this location at this time, make sure to tell his girlfriend not to tell him about XYZ, what's his favorite kind of cake, so let's go buy that. That is a conspiracy. Is that a negative conspiracy? No, but it's a conspiracy. So conspiracies occur. Do governments sit around together and say, okay, what's the best thing to have for our government to do with this other government? Yes. People are in the United Nations conspiring constantly. The United Nations are conspirators. So I'm talking about conspiracies in the negative sense of saying, yes, there's a few people who are like, yeah, we're going to do this so we can have these planes or these drones or whatever people want to talk about and say, this is the thing that happened, so this is going to change it. People talking about breaking down the film, saying, okay, how come there's not enough film of this? How come there's not enough angles of this? Look how this building fell. This is a free fall. Like, it doesn't fall this way. But how many buildings of that size ever got attacked in that manner and fell? You know, for me, when it comes to talking about these, I'll take some skepticism of who knew what and who did what. But when it comes to people saying, oh, nobody died in this situation, I'm like, I'm done with that conversation. I don't want to get into that. But back to the point with conspiracies. I was thinking one thing scarier than any conspiracy is that there is no conspiracy. You know, I was thinking, I realized this a few years ago, and I first thought, like, wow, that's kind of creepy. Like, it's kind of better to think the problems I see in the world are problems because there's a few people in the back who, if you could take out this small group of people, if you could expose this small group of people, if you could nullify their effect, then everything would be a lot better than it is today. That's somewhat more comforting, or it's easy to think, okay, that's who I'm going to target. I'm going to find these maybe 100, 500 people or something, and then we're going to figure out what they're doing, and we're going to identify, expose them, and stop them, and then everything will be better. But then another thing I realized soon after that was, if there is no conspiracy, I look around at the world and I'm thinking, no, it actually is pretty good. And with the 9/11 situation, I think part of the reason people want there to be conspiracies, they want to keep believing that the government really can stop this. They don't want to think it's possible that the government was just completely incompetent to stop this. Whether they knew it was happening or whether there was a few people involved, XO or whatever, that it happened, and the system they thought was set out to protect them failed, was unable to do it. It may have actually been part of why those people had enough reason and urge to actually carry on that attack. And one of the benefits I think I have of my kind of life of living in different places is having experienced this terror attack in Kenya. In a situation where Kenya's government is, about 54, 55 years of independence now. And it's a situation where people don't have that strong of a sense of nationality there. You know, they don't have that strong of a reliance and trust on the government. So for them, it's very easy for them to say that, no, this attack in this mall didn't happen out of some government officials conspiring with officials from another country or funding these people or hiding these people or even knowing that these people were trying to have this attack. They just like, yeah, no, our government is this horrible. Our government just had no capability of doing that. And I'm chuckling a bit here, but it's a serious situation. And I think that's a realization that, look, these people are not these superheroes that you imagine them to be. They're not supervillains out there. These are just people trying to do what they think is best. And you can do that as well, too. You take that upon yourself. It's not, let's find these other people. Let's not elect these superheroes that are going to fight these team of supervillains and then our life will be better. It's like, no, you can actually go out there and do stuff. You can go out there and actually change things. And being out here at the 9/11 memorial, one thing we did was we went out and found the place where Hillary Clinton had that collapse of hers on, I think it was during the 9/11 last year. She was at that memorial and she had some heat stroke or something, and there was this thing where somebody filmed her kind of stumbling and then being put in this vehicle. I'm going to put a photo of that up on the screen now, of that location. And I was thinking, in the future, there's possibly going to be a plaque here saying this is where this happened. And still, that's something that was on film. That's something you can go there and see. People saw it, yet with the media, the coverage, there's a lot of people like, oh, that never really happened. Or, oh, she wasn't really that ill. People saw that, and that shows that, look, things can happen. Things can have film. People can see footage of this. There can be evidence of this, and somebody can say that still didn't happen. At the same point, this shows that these leaders, this person who's supposedly part of the government, is just a human being. She's just a frail person that has weaknesses, that has the same biology that we have. She may have different kind of ambitions and different kind of ideas and different kind of access to different kind of power, but she is human. These people are all fallible. These people do mess up. These people do have other people who are trying to do things against what they want. There are people out there who are against what you want for your life, but doesn't mean you can't achieve that on your own. So these conspiracy theories, I think you should be very careful with people who talk about them. I think a good thing to ask, like with the 9/11 one, a basic one, people talking about it didn't happen or this happened, just try to see how many people do you think it would take to run this and have not even one person snitch. Not even one person just be like, oh, I'm going to tell maybe my kid, or my kid's going to stumble across my cell phone and then they're going to find it out and they're going to share it with a friend and like bragging, and then that friend's going to break up with them, or they'll have a fight with their boyfriend and their boyfriend will be like, oh, I remember that time you told me about this, and then go tell it and just expose everything. I think it just happened. Yeah, so now we're going to get into the Westgate video. I'm going to show you guys that, just a little background on that. Westgate Mall was a couple of kilometers away from where I was living at the time. I liked walking down to that area. I do this thing where I shop daily for groceries. I try to do that, get my exercise while doing that. So I was down there. This was the day after the attack happened, it was during the siege. We're in Uchumi, which is a supermarket in Sarit Center, which is a mall a couple of blocks away from the Westgate Mall. There was some commotion started, and we're wondering, is this another attack happening? And people start running out. They close the main doors of it. We run through the back of the store up to the roof of Street Center, and I get to film the smoke coming out, billowing out from Westgate Mall. This was during the siege, and apparently they had started burning some mattresses, and that ended up caving down the roof of Westgate Mall, and I don't know exactly why that was happening, but yeah, that's the background for this video. And you're also going to see a very, very good example of my accent changing depending where I'm at, just trying to communicate with people better. But yeah, that's me in the video recording, and yeah.
Na nilijua walikuwa wanafanya kitu pale ndani. Hawezi kaa tu muda mrefu hivi bila kufanya vitu. Nadhani walikuwa wana set my bombs. Na hii inakaa kama imeisha sasa. Hey. Watu wanakimbia hata hawajui ni nini. Yeah? Unaweza kimbia unapata wako pale unakuja lazima ujue unakimbia kutoka nini, unaenda wapi. Huwezi kimbia tu. Sasa hii ni kujilipua mbele. Okay, so apparently the main action has happened now. It's just buying some Oreos, regular stuff. You can see Oreos product placement in my little documentary. You can see the fire trucks there. You can see the smoke has started. So these guys have been locked up in there for 2 days. So there's probably setting up bombs. And or maybe just the attack has happened and the police have finally gone in. Not sure. But as you can see, everyone in Uchumi ran out. People are watching. You can see the smoke coming. The media is still over there. Media vans. That's one of the roads to Westgate. There's another one, of course it comes from the other way. And then there's another road up this way. But as you can see, life was going on. People are still out. The security forces are doing their job. So you can only trust that hopefully it's almost finished. Okay, so now I'm heading to Naivas. I'm gonna go get my food. Because as you can see, everything is closed here. One last view of the zone. Probably gonna take some pictures now, but yeah.
Yeah, so that was it. You guys saw there was an example, as I said, of my accent changing. That happens a lot, and I'm going to be back in Nairobi in a couple of days, and I'm going to be filming from there. So I'll show you guys Westgate Mall and how it looks now. And yeah, it's probably going to be some accent changes while I'm there because the thing kind of adjusts slowly by slowly as I'm in a different environment, speaking to different people. But yeah, until then, like, share, and subscribe. Till next video. Goodbye.